Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 97 of the Terminus podcast. For the weeks of April 14th, 2018, I am your dispatcher, Ellis, otherwise known as Train Man. With me I have my engineers, Wyvold, Jader, and Milky.
Hello.
With a motor.
Hi.
And with us, our hacker brakeman, is Eric, again.
Hey, just because I know how to use Google doesn't mean I'm a hack.
Sure.
I mean,
Hack.
I don't know about a hacker, but...
Hacker, I
He's a
barely know.
hack!
What a maroon.
Oh, you know what? We picked the camera already, but somebody on my friends list named Pink Floyd Welcome to the Machine is now playing Trains 2009. I think we switched to that.
No.
It's a long
Prince
username.
2009?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Anyways.
Well, before we hold up the bar car, the train will terminate at this station. Okay, this week we are with what's the computer? GLaDOS. We're with GLaDOS in space. It's TBA, Space Engineers.
Yeah.
You know,
Woo.
that game
Space.
that people like. The
Yeah.
thing.
The thing.
The thing.
Space.
Alright, thing. Speaking of things,
Astronaut.
two things did a thing the past couple of weeks. First one being
Tinky.
Norfolk Southern crashing some stuff.
Oops.
Quote, cleanup could take days, repairs could take months. Holy crap, the train cars are stacked 3 high.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, sorry, no, they just piled up, they just all fell off an embankment, and one of the cars is still on top. It looks like there's a giant stack of rail cars, but it's just a bunch piled up on the side.
Oof.
Oof.
Yeah. So this was in Huntington. It doesn't say
Huntington,
how many-
PA?
No, Huntington, D-O-N. Huntington, PA.
Yeah. So where we were.
Were we in Huntington? Were we?
Hunting Dun? I
Dun?
thought that's where, well, yeah, I thought so.
Is
Let
that
me
where we
look.
went to the, like, bar thing? Or
Yeah, I think that was Hunting Dun. Let me
maybe.
look.
Google it,
Hunting
whatever.
dung?
But, well, okay, you know what? I think it is because the cars derailed off the tracks along the edge of Stone Creek, a tributary of the Juniata River. 2 of the cars that derailed were transporting peas, one was transporting dried potatoes, one was transporting pulpboard, and the other was transporting plastic product.
I mean, it was going to be a great salad until you mentioned pulpboard.
And the plastic. An unknown quantity of peas, potatoes, and plastic pellets being transported by the cars spilled in and around the creek.
That's a lot of peas.
It's really helpful because the only
a lot of
picture of
peas.
the signal tower I have just says hunt.
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 It doesn't say hunting done. It's just, oh, hang on, this one has a plaque on it. Yeah, it's hunting done.
Okay, then this is where it was.
So this is where Boxers, that was the name of the place.
It was a good place.
It
Anyways,
was a good place.
Also, BNSF tipped over about 30 cars.
Damn
near
it, BN.
Oswego.
BNSF,
Ouch.
this is why we
Uh,
cannot have nice things.
And BNSF official estimated cold and snowy work conditions could cause car removal and potential track repairs to take at least 24 hours. But at least they gave a solid number because NS apparently can't come up with any. The Highline community of Oswego is located 12 miles west of Wolf Point, 40 miles east of Glasgow. So, yeah. Grain, 30 cars of grain. No hazardous materials because it's grain. And yeah, that's all, folks. So those are our 2 derailments. Nothing real special, nothing exciting. Kansas City Southern still holding the mantle of responsibility. And
There's nothing exciting ever happens there.
well, this week actually, to move on. This week I had an exciting event at the NBW, and by
boy.
exciting I mean my teacher found an excuse to drag my entire history and culture of games down there so we could discuss the nature of play and like how we turn that space into a space to play in with things like the fast clock and train orders and stuff like that, because we're in the middle of research papers about kind of whatever we want. And
Okay.
it was sort of to give people some ideas. It was actually really cool because John was talking about that kind of thing. John was able to give his spiel about how
Alright.
we try to replicate reality to an extent, but you need to ride a line between in an operating session being realistic and being playful. At least you don't want to make everything super rigid.
Right.
I don't know. It was cool. I mainly was just keeping an eye on everyone and running a train near them so that they had something to look at while they listened to John. I don't
Alright.
know. It was cool. I think we might have gotten a couple of new members out of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's always good.
Yeah, a couple of the people before we went down there were like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of the Model Railroad Club. Is it? Or I've heard of the thing underneath Davidson. Is there like a stretch of track down there or something?" And the teacher who's been down there before was like, "Just wait, just wait."
It's more than
Yeah.
a stretch of track.
Huh.
A lot of stretches of track.
Yeah, people were
Many
taken
stretches
aback.
of track.
Yeah. Anyways, what has everyone done for their trackside tales past few
I've
weeks?
done lots
Absolutely
of stuff
nothing.
since I haven't been here in a while.
Absolutely nothing.
Actually
so
quite a
true.
bit
You drove in a circle.
in the...
This is also true. We actually took Colorado and Southern Bobber Caboose number 1009 in
Oh.
circles for the first time in a few years.
Oh wow!
It's running
Nice.
again.
Congrats.
Nice.
We were happy
Yay.
to put it back in service. And also, we're in the midst of safety classes.
Ah,
Yay. As I've told my roommate, I have to go and get my train license renewed. That's about it, really.
I had
Yeah.
to do mine yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you had something more interesting yesterday as well,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah, we were subbing a busless car with our speeder, as we do, when we need to get stuff out of the way. Except for this time, it happened to pick a switch to well to the gates.
Ooh.
Into the gates?
The gates.
Oh, into the gauge. I was like, you took down the gates to your place?
That
yeah,
sucked.
and they wiped through them. Yeah, no.
Oh yeah.
We were subbing it back. Hit a switch, we bailed.
F.
It took us about an hour, but we tapped it back up and popped right back. So,
I'm still surprised you guys didn't use re-railing frogs of any kind, but I guess working on a switch in the gauge, you're really not. You really don't have much room.
a different problem. That yard is known for having some elements.
Yeah, I suppose that could be said.
So that's about all I did. Trobe, our 201 train. It's fun. It bikes a hell of a lot better on the new track.
Mhm.
To the point where I don't really hate it anymore. And just overall better. Except for the 25-ton locomotive that we have at the end of our track. Migrated forward about 100 feet from where I remember it being.
It migrated?
It moved 100 feet, and I don't know why.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
The Great Migration.
I'm picking up Great Migration.
Good migration.
I actually picked up some bad ones the other day when I exported the 3D model into Minecraft.
Yeah, if I
Wow,
recall
that
correctly,
go.
the chairs are hovering about halfway up the coach.
Hey,
The
man.
chairs aren't
Wait,
hovering.
no, they're just hanging from the ceiling.
It's upside down.
Oh,
the
yeah.
problem.
So you made an Australian train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a. That's a bad. Or, I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
And
when
Blender
they
be
port
moved
the
by
mod to
Blender.
Australia.
On the, it's It's a baggage RPO Coke's combination.
Hmm.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. It's a mouthful.
Baggage RPO Coach Jeebus.
But they're supposed to be windows, and Blender decided to remove those for whatever reason.
But nah, you don't need those windows.
Yeah. I used to cut the doors. That was one plus. Overall, not too bad, except for it being upside down for a test export
Hmm.
or import.
Well, now you just need to turn it right side up.
Yeah.
And
You got to go back and remodel the entire thing upside down. Damn
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, damn. That was fun.
Well, what else?
I've done lots of stuff.
You have done lots
Well,
of stuff.
Go forth,
Right.
because I think the rest of us have just been sitting around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been doing college.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't relate to the podcast, but
Oh,
I've started to get back on my computer a little bit.
Wow.
Alright. warming up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, slowly. And I don't have pictures on it, or I don't have pictures on here, but I started a new route in Tane.
Oh, yeah.
The what's the name of it? The Iroquois, Johnstown, and Northland Railroad. It's a little short line. Supposed to be in the Midwest, mid-50s. Yeah, something. Yeah, it's a more manageable project than something like the Fox Lake area was, where it's like, oh,
Massive.
yeah,
Hmm.
it was crazy.
You asked
I've
for
slowly got mech into Gmod, and yesterday I made, well, what was it? Seaboard gave me his Southern 4501, and I'm like, I need crap to run with this. So I made a little bit of the TVRM Somerville Steam Special consist. Ran that up and back from Rockford to Wolfram, and
it.
it ran really well. Those turned out really good for maybe 10 minutes each per car, except for the observation car that took a little longer.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good. That you're getting back in the Gmod and doing all these models.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I've slowly been starting to rebuild the Equidning Central fleet.
Awesome.
There you go.
Yep.
I like how that, of all
Right.
things, has persevered.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't kill what never died.
I,
It just went, it just went in limbo for a bit. It's fine.
I talked about a certain green boxcar that I received on the most recent episode of Under Construction.
Oh no.
Green box car.
Don't ask.
All right.
It's pretty horrible.
But also, we took out a chunk of track at the NMEW. I was trying to take people through it, and I was like, and this is as far north as we can go, because there's a giant piece of track missing between here and the next town.
Oops.
Which we
Oh.
have to fix by next weekend, because it's the operating session.
Oh, oops.
Oh, boy.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I've started to break away from where the Gilson Eastern is with the VMR on Tolbrand.
I'm back.
There's this gigantic, like, sort of triangle of tiles with a slightly smaller triangle of not tiles in the middle of it. It's a big area. There's a lot of stuff for me to work on. There's a lot of terrain that I'm gonna have to do. But also, I screwed myself because.
Don't you do that every day?
Well, it depends. But in this case, I was, I build the landscape before I build the track because I'm one of those people. And
Hey, what?
I built up this landscape, and I was like, alright, I gotta get through here now. And then I realized, oh, I've gotta descend from where I am, cross another river, and then go straight through a mountain. I went,
Oh.
okay, is there a better way around? And I tried a couple of other ways around, and I was like, nope, I just gotta build a giant tunnel. There's no way around this. I've gotta build
Build a TJ tunnel.
1.5. I tried that for a second. I had to build a 1.5% grade down for a while, and then cross this river, and then go into a tunnel, and then climb back up
Oh,
very
boy.
slowly.
Hmm.
So the thing that's annoying now is you need a helper no matter which way you're going.
Well, that's not very helpful.
Ugh.
Maybe at the summit you can put a little helper stop.
Yeah, there's gonna be a little town up there.
I make
gonna be called
summit on
Albany.
Nine Horsemen. I mean Albany.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's. I have a lot to do.
What about
I also did a thing today.
What?
I went someplace. I went to the Kekosking Valley Central Model Railroad Club. That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Yeah. Anyway, it's this little trinkle about Mount Vernon that really until maybe a few months ago I didn't even know existed. And they do monthly open houses, and I started talking to one of the members on Facebook, and he's like, "Yeah, come on up, bring, if you want to bring some of your equipment, go ahead." So I brought my Moose Valley engine, and I dubbed the whole day, I guess, Adventures with the Moose, Part 1.
The moose.
The moon.
Yeah. If I get another Moose Valley engine, I want to run them together and then call them the Meese.
The meese.
God damn it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Go get the caboose with a moose so we can couple on and make the meese, and go get the rest of the caboose with the caboose on the moose.
God damn it.
You want to repeat that over? Not really.
But yeah, it's a really nice club. They what was it? They have a main HO scale layout that wraps around 4 support poles there in the basement.
Pole.
Like the tables are literally built around the poles. Like to get out of there, you probably have to cut the tables apart because it's sort of modular, but not really.
That's the trick. When they take it to shows, they just bring the poles too.
Oh, they don't take it to shows.
Okay.
Not with that attitude.
No,
Yeah. They have some lame excuse like those poles are structural, whatever the hell that
I mean,
means.
they are
No.
right.
Now he sounds like them. You're spending too much time with the moose people. The meese.
The meese.
This isn't even the Moose people.
you mean
It
me?
is the moose.
They're the moose people.
But yeah, they have a main HO scale layout, and they have a end scale layout in a separate room.
Is
And,
that a smaller room or a bigger room?
the end scale's in a smaller room?
Oh, okay, so that's not most of the meese.
Right.
Good.
Most of
Nice.
Yeah. And so I might have in addition to this, I might have the, very preliminary beginnings of a small business.
Oh?
I was running my Moose Valley engine around, and one of the older guys there, he's like, "Did you install that, the sound in that yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Uh-oh.
And he's like, "Do you charge to do that?" And I'm like, I've never been asked this before.
This is only
And then
my
he showed
first
me-
time.
I mean,
Oh, jeez.
Jeez.
I could have lived a long, happy life without that image.
At least take me out to dinner first.
There we go. Jesus, I'm asking. What the fuck?
If you get
Uh,
you could take your shirt off.
What did I just return to because my internet crashed?
The madness.
But anyways, what did you say to their supposition?
sorry, my Skype crashed.
Oh, well, well, maybe a good thing. So what did you reply?
Well, I'm like, I don't necessarily charge, but I kind of know what I'm doing. With with certain engines, I know what I'm doing. Other stuff, I won't even touch. And we go into one of the other, one of the other side rooms, and he pulls out these Bachmann Plus, like 1990s Bachmann
Oh no.
Penzi F units, and he's like,
Yes.
"Could you put would you be willing to put DCC and maybe sound in this? I'll pay you for it. I'll pay for the parts and everything. I'm like, oh, all right. Like, I'll do it. So I ended up bringing these home with me. And they run, thank God.
Yeah. That's the
That would have
plus.
really sucked if they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Install
run.
DCC and sound in them, and just buy new engines.
Yeah, but they run. The A unit has some weird, like, corrosion on the frame. I don't know what it is. I have a picture of it. Where is it? It's that in this one. It's like that blue crap on the sides, and it's like in with the motor too, but it runs. So
Blue.
I'm gonna clean it up. But yeah, I still need to get I need to figure out like just how much I'm gonna charge, and how much this guy is willing to pay. Hopefully he's willing to pay per sub, because that's more money. Yay!
Wunderbar.
Yeah.
Eric,
Get
have you
the
been up to
money.
anything?
I've done absolutely nothing other than college.
Well, I
Such
know
is
the
life.
feeling. Ellis?
I mean, I talked about it with. I mean, I've done work on tool print, whatever. The VMR is longer than it was. Honestly, it got extended to like 50% just the other day. Although I got frustrated because I recorded an hour of under construction, and then I noticed Audacity had crashed 15 minutes prior. So I had to go back
Rip.
and do it again. It was annoying.
Rip.
Yeah, but other than that, I haven't done too much training related, other than going down to the NEB&W and pestering people because I can.
I've just done enough to work on my drains route and haven't taken any screenshots of it. So,
Hey, a couple weeks until the route review.
and I managed to put some end stale on my route. Just a little isolated section of it, because why not?
Mm-hmm.
It's wide on scale.
It's funny.
Oh,
There we
And
go.
I also found out how to make the tame background menu change.
Oh yeah, you showed that. That's
I
cool.
did that.
How do you do that?
It's easy. There's a picture called background somewhere in your tame folder.
Mm-hmm.
Replace that with something else called background.
Okay.
Make sure it
And you're
says
done.
background and not background, or like thumbnail, or
I'll show
something
you
that's
the
close
photo
but not
Hell,
quite.
not to ga.
on it.
Oh well. Anyways, so if
It
that
works.
covers what we've been up to.
Yep.
Well, actually, I think, was it since last time? Although it might have been before last time. I went through the exercise of purchasing and getting all the segments of rail passes, which that was an interesting experience. Because you have to do it mostly over the phone. Like, you buy it, and then you have your transaction number, your rail pass number, whatever. You call them up, and you tell them what you want, segment-wise, to put on the pass. So I went through all the 8 segments that I needed, and then I was like, okay, so I need you to do that for this other rail pass too. And I could hear the woman like, oh, okay, give me a minute.
She's probably like, I hate my job.
Yeah. No, she was very
All these
helpful.
foamers wanting their rail pass.
Foamer.
All these foamers wanting their rail passes.
Yes.
They should just pay normal price. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Why did she
yeah.
become Skeletor?
Why not? Skeletor's amazing.
Because she's evil. Eric just went detained. Give him a point.
no, I was testing the
No,
background thing.
right.
You thought.
Give him a point.
Whoa. That escalated.
Oof. Anyways, it's time for.
Is it time for it?
I don't know. Is it? Anybody got anything else?
Nope, I got nothing.
It's like 8:30, so I don't know.
In that case, it's time for locomotive versus.
Yeah, by episode 100, it's got to be completely unintelligible.
We're gonna take a
Kill the beast.
pre-recorded locomotive versus and like bass boost it and like, you know,
Bass
make it
boost
super
it.
ear
It'll
rapey.
just be episode 100. Oh, it's time for locomotive versus.
Oh, so we could just get Dean on here
It
again.
is time for locomotive versus. Now
All
it's
right.
time for silly songs with Larry.
No, it's time for the locomotive versus.
Yeah, Eric, what does JGR stand for?
Japanese Government Railway.
Okay, I didn't figure out government. I was thinking great.
Japanese Great Railway.
I mean,
Oh, great honorable railway.
Denver and Rio Great Western.
Yes, Rio Grande Great Western. It's not even they mixed up the
DRGG.
great. They just added great in there somehow. It's like, where did you even get that stencil?
Well, it's great though.
How did you
GG.
screw that up? Gonna make the Rio Grande
DRGGW.
great again. We're going to
Uh,
build a wall along Tennessee
Around
Pass.
Japan.
Around Japan.
and make
That was like in the
make
plot of
China
Pacific
pay
Rim,
for
wasn't
it.
it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the plot of Pacific Rim.
Now let's see if that worked. There it goes. Okay.
Donald Trump,
that is-
Donald
that is
Trump,
easy
in an
for
epic
us.
plan to make the Rio Grande great again, constructs a wall surrounding Japan to contain the pure adorableness of this cute little engine. Which is, for this cute little engine named Yoshitasune.
And in the other corner we have, hold on, I need to grab the actual picture of the engine that I'm representing because I haven't looked at the stat page yet. Here's the stat
I don't
page.
even know what this other engine looks like.
That's okay,
so-
hold on.
You'll know what it looks like when you see it, Eric.
It's a small boy.
You'll go, oh, that engine.
I got a picture of it.
Please.
Trawling of it, rather. No, actually, I'll try and see if I
I
can
also
find
have I have a drawing of it. I think I know which one you know.
it. Yeah.
Please be the right size. Please be the right size. This.
Oh
No.
crap! I forgot to. I'll wait till we're done to say that. No,
Yeah, that's it.
I forgot a part.
I think I know this
at the
engine. This looks
Rail
familiar.
Club.
Where have I seen this before?
Trains.
Trains 06.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, which
Ben Neal made that.
Ben Neal.
what am I doing? Hold on.
You're doing me.
Oh wait, no, I got it. It's class 4. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
oh my
why
God.
is it class? Why is it class 4 if it was the first? Wait, no, it wasn't the first engine in Japan. That was the British thing,
No,
wasn't
that's
it?
the wrong thing. This is. I'm talking about my thing. I'm doing the cook model.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, class 4 because it's not the later one with the steel boiler. They're still the iron boilers.
Also, one of these things here, 2 classes over, the class 5/3-M
Mhm.
was built by Rhode Island.
Good.
That's
Why don't you
great.
do that one?
There are none left.
I don't know. Well, because it's a Manitoba and Northwestern engine.
Ah,
It's a standard
Manitoba.
Gauge, it's a standard gauge engine built in 1886. But anyways, this is locomotive reverse. Let me get a picture of the engine. That's a boogie. Let me get like. Sure, I'll just get this. I'll just use this model.
That's good enough.
Open image in new tab.
just got a video. Number 11, 2 space 6 space 0, rare Mogul steam locomotive on the Everett Railroad.
Wow, that's.
I'd hardly say it's rare. I mean, they were everywhere.
It's their engine. God damn it. Anyways, in one
That
corner
too,
we
it
have
is there.
Yoshitsune, and in the other corner we have
Ugh.
this adorable thing. BSPMP
They're both so cute.
number 69.
Hey.
Well,
All right, who
Alright.
should go first?
Well,
honor.
Cute thing.
That's not specific enough, Milky.
Cute American thing.
that's
They were-
not specific enough either.
I mean, no, it is.
No, it's not. They're both American built.
Yeah, but I think that.
Okay, cute Colorado thing.
Okay, fine.
Okay, well,
Damn it.
that's one for each. So,
What's your loco base ID?
Okay, we'll
I'm
start with
curious.
Loco Base ID. Loco Base ID 6751.
76-21.
Those are surprisingly close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you win by not much.
Yeah, like concerningly close. Okay, so, what year were you built?
1880.
1900.
Jeez.
Really?
You were built in 1880?
Yeah.
Old fucker.
Old. Let me see. Let's
In
see.
1900 you were built?
1900.
No, you,
Am I looking at the wrong class of engine?
you must be, because the Denver, South Park, and Pacific ceased to exist in 1894.
Try again.
Well, this.
Whichever one you're looking at, 6 years before it was built, the railroad that...
Well, there's no other. There's no other DSPMP listing in here.
Just
Data from CNS 7, that's like 9.
It's
and,
all and it says builder CNS, so this might be post rebuild stuff then.
Maybe...
It's the right numbers. It's 13. It's 39 through 40, 69 through 74, and 4 through 13.
Okay. The other strange one is, what are we looking at? This is something I should have checked the date beforehand, because none of these engines can be the original Cook Mogul, because all of them were built after the DSPNP was no longer a thing.
Well,
Do we want to just do 9 then? So post rebuild condition?
well, would 9 be this same category?
9 would be class 4, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as we say it's not the original Cook Mogul as we know the condition from trains. It's the post CNS rebuild stuff.
Well, it does say builder CNS, so
Okay. Yeah.
that's why.
Okay.
But it does say
Carry
railroad
on.
DSPMP.
Carry on.
Okay.
Now I got to look up CNS number 9.
Well, it's all in here. Whatever.
cock.
I don't know then, because now I feel like I need a different picture so I get a better idea of what I'm doing. It's pretty much the same thing, is it not?
It's sort of the same thing. The boiler was a steel boiler, not an iron boiler, and the pressure was raised. I'm not a CNS nut, so I can't quote exactly what it entailed.
Okay, well, driver diameter.
Hang on. That should be
Driver
the same.
diameter.
There.
36 inches.
40 inches.
God damn it, what?
Small.
Small.
Okay.
Yes.
Teeny weeny weeny. Boiler pressure.
Boiler pressure, 111.7.
Ow. Oof.
What's
you
yours?
poor thing.
What do you have?
190. 111.7 is
Oh.
just sad.
You have 190?
I have 190.
That's not sad. What does the
No,
Japanese
his-
thing have?
111.7.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was like, wait,
Rip.
why is 190
like-
sad?
It's like,
Yeah,
no, his is sad.
111.7.
It's like you boil
Not
tea
only-
with more pressure than that.
Yeah. Not only is that a very strangely
That's
specific
literally a tea
number.
kettle.
Well, also pound
Yeah, it's
converted
converted.
from KP, yeah,
Oh, that's why.
KPA to PSI.
That's still not a lot.
really
That's still
weird.
terrible, though.
Yeah.
What
If
is
you're lucky if the pressure gauge can tell you within a pound or two.
what are the cylinders?
Cylinders. The high pressure cylinders, 12 by 16.
15 by 18. Okay, well, tractive effort.
Tractive effort. Where are you? There you are. 6,076.
Okay, this is not good for you.
Oh no.
16,352.
I'm detecting an unfair advantage here.
No, yeah. So
The unfair advantage is that you suck.
maybe like a Baldwin 6 wheels would have been a better competition.
Yeah.
Oh well. What's your factor of adhesion?
5.03.
Holy crap!
Mm,
3.91.
So did I
Wow.
win that one?
No.
No, you want to be
That's
close
about
to
being
4.
closest
That's
to 4.
poor.
That's like, oh my god.
That's bad.
Firebox area,
51.67.
Aww.
100.20.
Rip.
Rest in peace.
Wait, Eric, what is your grade area?
Great. 10.01.
What?
14.7. Aren't you a larger
Rip.
gauge?
No.
Yes.
Wait.
You're 3'6". This thing's just 3 foot.
Oh.
6
yeah.
inches doesn't make a lot of it weight.
Not only is 9 beating something, 9 is kicking its ass.
And 9 could be.
We laugh at 9. It's like, yeah, what are you gonna do with that? Pull a coach up the hill? The loop murdered it because it was too weak.
Also, this looks like it has much smaller drive wheels. But I think it's because the boiler got enlarged.
What, 9?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is because of that.
Became
Ow.
thicker. Well,
This.
Achievement get thick.
evaporative heating surface.
How do you do
Evaporative heating surface. 208.65.
208?
Yes.
941.
Oh!
For a second, I thought you had surprised him because you beat him, but oh, I was wrong.
Oh my goodness. My heart.
Goodbye.
I can't take the views.
Goodbye.
Oh, Yoshitsune, you bring great dishonor to your family.
This may be the worst locomotive we've ever had in Locomotive Versus.
Yoshitsune versus.
And we've had DT&I stuff that was terrible.
Evaporative heating surface divided by cylinder volume.
Hang on.
Oh, wait. I read the wrong thing.
God damn it. What's your
Evaporative heating surfaces was 437. It's still off anyways.
terrible. Was your evaporative heating surface divided by cylinder volume was what?
208.65.
Alright, my 255. Well, I
What's your
guess
superheating surface?
I don't have any.
neither of us have superheating surface, Jader.
We're too old for superheaters.
Okay.
Robert Limousin's power commutation.
1118.
2,793.
Oh.
Bye.
Can I,
No,
I'm gonna step in.
hold on, I'm still murdering. Same as above, but substitute firebox area for great area.
5772.
5772.
Yes.
19,038.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I've got something that's a little bit more akin to the Yoshitsune. Can I just do a couple stats of that real quick?
Hold on, well, let me finish. Let me finish.
Yes.
We're
soon as you
almost
got-
done.
Yeah, let me finish. This is the greatest. I'm gonna let you finish. But, anyways. Power L1,
2225.
4961. And finally, Power MT,
481.26.
512.68.
A little bit closer on that one, but still.
Well, it's 15 to nothing.
Oh, you didn't do the top
Eric,
one.
I'm gonna try to help you.
Okay.
How many were built?
6.
10.
Okay, never mind.
Wait. While we continue that and asking how many survived.
No. Okay, sure. You don't get to ask that. But,
Well, I know,
Yeah,
but
you get to
I
ask
figured
how
I'd be
many
the next
survived?
question.
3.
3.
Well, I don't have any. Wait, no,
And-
I have CNS 9. Are there any
you have
other?
one.
Are there any other CNS 9s?
No.
Okay. Well,
I
Is this
have.
the one?
Congratulations,
You do run,
you have a
though,
point,
Or
but
you
you
did
were-
run.
I also have 1 running.
9
Uh,
did run briefly.
Yeah. 9 did 1.
They
So the
killed
loop-de-loop
it.
got a hold of it.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. I've got one that's a little bit more similar to Yoshitsune.
Can you
Okay.
send a
Let's just-
picture?
let's- yeah, let me find one real quick. Let's just start going on the stats.
Shitsune!
Oh, Yoshitsune! Okay, Eric, when were you built again?
1880.
Okay, I was built 1921.
Oh,
Well,
rip.
Oof.
No, we'll get there. What's your boiler pressure?
Boiler pressure was 111.7.
I've
Dog
got
is going absolutely
115.
what engine is this?
Just give it a minute.
Oh no.
I'll let you ask a couple.
Me? Okay, what's your driver diameter?
About 10 inches.
What the?
What engine is this?
Wait a minute. Tiny town.
God damn it.
You're already losing to the fucking tiny town.
36.
Oh no!
36 inches, so I'm winning there.
What's your Robert Lamency's power computation?
Not much.
All right,
What's
there we
your-
go.
It was a three-way locomotive versus the Japanese were raped by the Coloradans, and then the Japanese raped the Coloradans. Albeit much smaller ones.
No.
We're tiny enough to go to still give you a good fucking and smile while doing it.
Back to the actual fight. Votes.
George Carlin.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like how it's like let's just move on to votes because it's helpless.
It's
No,
helpful.
well,
It's helpless.
Style
Yeah,
points.
but you want to keep going?
I mean, no, I don't. I'm just like usually it's like let's try a little bit, but let's
Oh,
not.
and here's a picture for reference. Fiddle post.
That's why you didn't get the picture right away, huh?
There it goes. Yeah, that'd be why.
Oh, that's
that one.
9.
God damn it.
That's 10.
Oh, it's the one that tipped over.
Oh
Wow. Okay. Beautiful.
Well,
So
shit.
let me. I thought I would have had a little bit more time to move stuff into the other document. Just give me a second, please.
Yeah, this is going really fast.
no! That was
Oh, it's okay. We've got
I'm
lots
just
of
gonna
news.
go ahead and add a couple stupid points. You know, that seems to be a good number of stupid points for this one.
Oh, well,
Wait a
you're
minute, I
giving,
wanna
giving
continue-
yourself points for picking an engine this bad.
Hang on. I want to continue the murder.
Okay.
Do you really?
Yes.
Okay, give me a
How
second.
much fuel can you guys
He's
carry?
already dead.
Yes.
Stop! It's already dead.
I don't care.
Nagasaki happens.
I thought you
anyway.
were gonna answer that.
Okay, well,
What?
tons.
Oh.
No, hold on.
Okay.
Fuel, 6 tons.
Not a whole lot. 1.7.
1.7 tons?
That's
Wait.
that's
Oh
your
my-
fuel capacity.
How on earth do you only carry 1.7 tons?
Don't ask. I don't know. I didn't make the chart.
Wow.
You shouldn't have picked this.
I didn't think it was gonna be this bad.
I didn't think it was going to be that bad either. Yoshitsune is horrible.
That's why it's called
Dude, this dog is
Yoshitsune.
lousy.
Poor Yoshitsune.
I think,
Oh,
I think
Yoshitsune.
oh, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a couple of old engines. You know, it's gonna be great. No, it's fucking murder.
I'm trying to figure out...
Someday, we need to find an actual locomotive that's comparable to Yoshitsune, and you know, can
And
we
fight
get a
the two.
Baldwin 6 wheels?
Can we use the rocket?
How about half of a Vulcan?
Half of a Vulcan.
How about half?
Oh,
Alright, well, we'll just end that there.
let's stop. He's already dead.
Winner, DSP&P 260
Just
by the points, which is 16 to 2. Alright, and votes.
I don't know.
DSP&P.
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Jader?
one for the DSP&P.
DSP&P.
Serious?
I
Okay.
like the Japanese thing, but it's no.
It's Garbo.
Sorry, Yoshitsune, you don't even get a pity vote.
I like how this started out by you going, "Oh man, whoever Yoshitsune is against is gonna lose." I love Yoshitsune.
Yeah, but then you brought up the Cook Mogul. It's like, ah! Like I can't squee any harder.
Well, at least it wasn't a shutout.
It pretty much
Things
was.
we've
nearly-
never had to say in a locomotive versus before.
I don't know. I think we've definitely said that before.
No, there's usually at least been some comeback.
Over 97 fights.
I don't know.
There's-
I have the document somewhere. I can find the most unbalanced one.
Yeah, do that.
Anyways,
Some
let's continue on to Fresh from the Shop. Let's get some news out here.
News. And we're right back. with
Good
the
news, everyone! The
Good
ski train
news.
is safe, which everybody sort of freaked out about this, and I fail to understand why. With the recent announcement by Amtrak that they're not doing private excursions or any of that stuff anymore, everybody was like, "Oh no, we just got the ski train back, and now it's going to go away." But the ski train is a timetabled service.
Yep.
It's not a.
Ski Train is not a private charter.
Yeah, everybody freaked out like, "Oh no, we're losing the ski train again." No, it's like an actual service.
Yeah.
So that's really all there is on that one. The ski train isn't going anywhere. Don't be afraid.
It's a cool seasonal service.
It is a cool seasonal service.
And we might be getting our own seasonal service, which I am excited about. I mean, I won't be here anymore to experience it, but now that we have all 4 platforms open, or all 4 tracks, it's not 4 platforms. There are 3 platforms. But there's an extra track that goes around the other side. Anyways, I digress. Now that we have... no, is it 4?
I need to step away after all that.
Okay. But now that
Let's go on and rethink my life.
Albany Rensselaer train station is fully armed and operational, there's a group studying the feasibility of seasonal weekend passenger train service to the Berkshires. That
Ooh.
would extend existing Empire service trains to Pittsfield from New York City and Rensselaer, which is cool. So we'd get a train that, just takes you to Pittsfield out of Albany. That's one stop over. A gross cost of operating one round trip each weekend during the summer and fall would be about $425,000 over a 20-week period, which is not a lot of money. As far as like Amtrak expenditures go,
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a lot.
yeah, less than $500,000 for a seasonal service is not bad.
No.
And this figure could be reduced to about half that if the service is able to attract 2,600 passengers during the entire season.
That's still not a lot.
That's not a lot of people, no. Here's the thing, though. Here's my take on it. I feel like, as much as I like the idea of more passenger trains going in that direction, I feel like Pittsfield is not the stereotypical or like the picturesque Berkshire destination. I feel like if they really wanted to get their money's worth, they should run a train to North Adams instead. And I'm not sure how it works out with dealing with Pan Am and whatever, but this is a cool idea. But when I was reading about it, I had initially hoped that it was something that ran along that area instead of the other way. I don't know. It's cool. I would love to see it happen, and I like this idea of like forays into more seasonal trains because it's sort of Amtrak trying to make use of basically the niche that it has, the niche that it really occupies well.
Yeah.
Which is these nice train journeys. And that's, and the other point is, and they bring up this point in the article, once in Pittsfield, passengers would face the last mile hurdle, which is, how do I get to my destination in Berkshire County?
Okay.
And, because Pittsfield is not I'm going to Pittsfield for the weekend. It's not a thing.
It's like, oh man, I'm going to Pueblo for the weekend.
Yeah. It's not that bad, but,
I'm going to Como for the weekend.
yeah. But the next step is find financial support and, get a 1 or 2 year pilot program. and see if they could get better frequencies and other stops like in Stockbridge and Chatham, which are in New York State, which are a little bit more of picturesque destinations. I would say, in my opinion.
All right.
But I do think they should explore the idea of a train to North Adams on a more regular basis. That said, that these guys are probably, the people that are probably pushing for this are probably people in and around Pittsfield, so that would be out of the zone that they care about.
Wait a minute. Are Pittsfield and North Adams like on the same route?
They're pretty much north-south of one another. They're not on the same route. That's the thing. Like, the Pittsfield is a stop on the Boston and Albany, and North Adams is a stop on the Boston and Maine. So if you were to go out and around through Mechanicsville and then down, it's the town right before the Hoosick Tunnel.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's a really cool destination. I've been there, a number of times, but that's actually where the Hoosick Valley runs out of. But anyways, yeah, that's
Hoosac Tunnel.
The Hoosac. The other thing is, speaking of extensions and services and whatever, on the flip side of that hopeful expansion, there was going to be a test of the Downeaster, which was going to go past Brunswick, another couple of stops, I believe, to Rockford. Oh no. No, wait, did it go to Bangor? Where were they going to... Okay, so yeah, to Rockland. So they wanted to extend the train from where it currently terminates in Brunswick along what was once the Main Eastern, and it's now handed off to somebody else, and they don't run passenger trains. The Main Eastern did run passenger trains. Now they don't. And so they wanted to use the Downeaster to fill that gap, so it would go from there to Rockland with stops in Newcastle, Bath, and the little town of Wiscasset. But that, that will not be happening, unfortunately. The trial will not be happening. Quinn told Daily News that Amtrak would conduct its assessment later this year, and that the authority was aiming to offer the service in summer 2019 with a schedule that, quote, hopefully can be more robust than 3 trips, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. To bring that up, though, they're trying to get more than 3 trips that go all the way up to Brunswick. As it stands, they're adding another siding so that you can run more than one train in that direction at once, which is a nice. Expansion, extension, whatever you want to call it. But anyways.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! Should we get the sad news out of the way?
Oh, yeah. We do have some sad news.
We do have some sad news. Get the date. On Saturday, March 24th of this year, longtime Trains veteran Ben Dorsey had passed away from, I believe it was cancer.
Hmm.
He is known for making many a bridge in Trains, and he will be greatly missed.
Yep.
Bridge God is gone. I don't know how we're going to get along without him.
Ellis, you're a civil engineer. Build more bridges for us.
I'm not a modeler.
That doesn't mean I solve problems like what is life or beauty. I solve practical problems.
People who model build more bridges. We need to fill in the gap of this, esteemed bridge-building god.
Yeah.
That is very unfortunate.
It really is, yeah.
Okay, what else is unfortunate?
Brightline killed somebody else.
Yeah, Brightline did kill somebody else.
That's not news. That's not news. That's sports.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Oh yeah, though, who owes me $5? A man was struck and killed by a Brightline train on Sunday afternoon in Delray Beach. It marks at least, I like it how it says at least the 6th death involving the service since it began trial runs last year. What, they lost track of it?
I guess.
I mean, they lost count?
Haven't you?
No, they just stopped counting.
It appears this one was a suicide, but we know that before this it was just people being morons. This would... Oh god, and now there's another quick video. Anyways, we can talk a little bit about the service if nobody is up on what the hell the service is. It's a train in Florida, and Florida man likes to jump in front of it. And...
Curses Florida man.
And
After pounding a quart of bleach, Florida man decides he must take to the rails.
Yeah.
Uh,
Shaking my head.
Yeah, well.
Well,
Disappoint.
We'll see if that lasts.
yeah.
If they stop killing people at any point. I've seen advertisements now for don't try to beat the train. I've seen stuff about it now, so there's hope.
It's funny you say that, actually. Operation Lifesaver has suddenly become a thing again in Colorado.
Well, just in general.
It's been years since I've seen something for Operation Lifesaver, and there have been seminars, booths, all this stuff in the past few months that I've taken note of. Thanks,
Florida man.
Yeah, thanks, Florida man. A lot of that has to do with, the international re-emergence of Operation Lifesaver, at least at the museum anyway, has to do a lot with the FRA. And currently there's a little bit of news with the FRA. The FRA, according to Trains Magazine, has more than 100 positions open within the agency, ranging from, safety inspector to program analyst to blah, 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 blah. These are great, secure government jobs that pay a lot of money, and nobody wants them.
Why?
I don't really know. There are a couple disadvantages. For
your
one,
budget's in danger.
Yeah, your budget's constantly in danger. Of all government jobs, it's really not the most secure. And additionally, something that our FRA inspector at the museum has faced a lot with, there just aren't any young people interested in it, which I find to be kind of strange. I'd work for the FRA. I'd be a dirty fed. Therein that statement lies the problem of they're the FRA, they're the dirty feds.
Nobody wants to be that guy.
Yeah, they're not this cool administrative agency that everybody that works in the industry hears FRA and just goes,
uh-oh.
Yeah, oh shit. Either goes, oh damn it, or oh shit.
Yeah.
Just depends how up on the regs you are.
Yeah. I by the way just got my new rulebook draft to study.
Oh yay!
Oh boy!
It is more material to study than all of my exams over the next 4 weeks, and I don't plan on looking at any of it because it takes the rules test is on the same weekend as finals.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Yep.
In other words, it's just another final.
Yeah, it's just another final, but this one should be pretty easy because most of them are pretty they're pretty self-explanatory, and then there's ones that are interesting that I find to be kind of stupid. Like, if I can find it, there's one about sleeping.
Shit.
Damn it.
Imagine if it was like how to properly sleep on the job.
Here's rule G.
Oh,
here you go. This one was one of my favorites just because conduct. Personnel must not be 1, careless, 2, negligent, 3, insubordinate, 4, dishonest, 5, immoral, 6, quarrelsome, or 7, discourteous. Well, fire everyone.
Yeah. There goes the museum.
No.
Including
there goes the industry.
Now, hang on. Here's my question, though, Wild.
Mm.
I thought you guys didn't have to deal with the FRA since you don't have any public grade crossings. You just have the driveway.
We don't have to deal with the FRA. However, we do have to deal with we have a safety program, which is basically for insurance and liability purposes.
Oh, okay.
And the new safety program we're rolling out is being headed up by a gentleman by the name of Mike Ramsey. He's been in the industry for absolutely fucking forever. He worked on the Georgetown Loop when it first opened. He worked on the DNS when it was first sold into private hands.
Wow.
This guy knows his stuff, and he's a representative of the FRA who has written this book. Basically, there was a lot of criticism of the book because it's not very... There's a lot of stuff that doesn't apply to the museum. It's a very sort of broad FRA-type rule book. Yeah, it's very general and doesn't really apply to the museum.
Yeah.
But that's been figured out over time. Anyway, if you're interested in jobs with the FRA, a lot of college students right now that are going to be graduating here fairly soon.
I mean, if there's still jobs open in 4 years in Ohio, then yeah.
Yeah, they've got a pay band of starting at 63,000 a year up to 126,000 a year, which is really, really great pay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
some good pay.
Working with trains.
63K out of the gate. That's awesome.
That is a lot.
Not only that, you're working with trains. You get to tell people what to do.
You get to
You
film.
get to be the
Dude.
boogeyman.
You get to walk onto property and like people cower in fear behind crates and look out at you like, he's with the FRA. He's with the FRA.
Everyone,
God, he's with the
everyone
FRA.
around you will be on their best behavior.
Oh yeah. You suddenly walk in and everybody's got that kind of wooden smile and stance to them.
Just act. If we don't move, maybe he'll go away.
Yeah,
His
exactly.
vision is based on movement.
You have no idea how true that is. Maybe,
Make sure none of
maybe
the
if we
engines are
don't maybe if we
moving.
don't say anything to him, he'll go away.
See, I would probably be a really laid back inspector.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Like,
there are the
well,
two kinds of inspectors. There are the really bad ones that are always quoting rules and they have to have something to write up or they feel like they've not done their job properly. And then there's the really chill and laid back ones that they'll see a minor infraction and go, "Hey,
Just-
don't do that." Yeah, hey, don't
Yeah.
do that. Or they'll just look at you and go, you guys know what you're doing. That's not, they won't even really say anything because it's that minor of an infraction. The FRA, by the way, for anybody who's never had to take a rules test, Milky, you can testify to this, has rules about absolutely everything.
I actually can't testify to that because the museum is an FIA.
Oh,
Lucky.
regardless,
Lucky
yeah.
you.
Hopefully you don't wind up like us and start getting an FRA rule book.
I might, but for a different
Rip.
reason.
Rip.
Back
Well,
to the
speaking-
news.
Speaking of museums,
Speaking of
apparently I somehow didn't hear about this from anybody
any
until now.
idiot,
Apparently, the Ohio Railway Museum is getting a grant to build a substation, and it's a Trains magazine article, so I can't read it.
Wah,
And you guys
wah,
are also
wah,
having a
wah.
fundraiser.
Wait, let me see.
for
There should be two
That's-
articles with that, right?
There's just I just copied the one.
Oh, there was a second one attached to it. There was a -2, which was for the second article.
Okay.
I don't know where that went then.
Oh.
It was a more detailed. The second one was actually a more detailed article, and it was not Trains magazine.
Oh. Well, okay.
Oh, well.
But they're getting
That's
something
right.
like $110,000 grant, something like that. If I
Yeah.
recall from my glance at the other article.
This must be a different museum because I haven't heard anything about this, unless I've just been like completely
Well,
absent.
no, I heard Northern Ohio Railway Museum got a grant for that.
Yeah, that's the place. That's the place. It's Orm's sister museum.
Northern Ohio.
Yeah, this is Northern
Yeah.
Ohio Railway Museum.
Yeah, Norm.
Now
Norm.
that's
Not the Ohio Railway
No,
Museum.
No, not the Ohio Railway Museum. This is just an Ohio Railway Museum.
Oh,
God damn it.
So that's right. You guys can't read this, and you deleted the other article.
I
It's
did a
Norm.
stupid.
Creators, open this.
Yeah, Norm.
Norm.
I
But-
got you, fam.
It's a new substation. It will be to draw power from Ohio Edison for the overhead trolley wire system. It will enable the museum to operate more streetcars as well as higher power rapid transit cars.
Yeah.
The museum presently generates its own power using a gas generator that has capacity limitations.
We did that in the
Yeah.
50s.
So, yeah. Norm.
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 But Trader, there's some actual Ohio Railway Museum news.
What is it?
That
Oh, yeah. I need to find it. I'll have it before we're done. But
it's in the chat.
oh, wow.
It's okay. I have some trolley
Thank you.
museum news.
Ta-da!
Remember how last time we talked about those two cars, the washboard car and the other one? And they were trying to
Yeah.
fundraise to save them?
Yes.
Mission accomplished.
Woo!
They're now at the Danbury Railway Museum. Is keep an eye on these two cars. The washboard MU number 5111, which is one of the subscription parlor cars that the New Haven operated, and SPV 1001, which is a Bud SPV 2000 self-propelled passenger car.
Which was a private car.
Yeah, it was. It had its engines removed and was rebuilt as a business car. They arrived at 2:45 a.m. Behind a orange plague locomotive, and so now they're sitting just opposite the depot. And if you take a trolley ride there, you'll be able to see them.
Woo!
All right.
Yeah.
Is that where they're going to reside permanently?
That is where they're going to reside. It appears.
Okay.
So.
And the GoFundMe is still up for them to because they didn't quite raise all the money, but the museum
stepped in.
Yeah, well, presumably they were able to get a little bit of fundraising done offline.
Yeah.
You know, the good old pretzel jar with the hole cut in the lid.
Yep.
Spare change.
Spare change.
Did we mention who purchased them?
Who purchased them?
Because we heard his name for. He's the same kid that purchased the B&M boxcar.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Same guy.
For him.
We should get him on the podcast.
Good for him. On the note of money.
I was just gonna say, because I was gonna say something on the note of money too.
Well, let's do all the money stuff.
All the money.
I'll go first. Has anybody seen 80K?
Well, I did.
Oh.
Past tense.
Yeah, because Strasbourg just got robbed of 80K.
Damn.
Oh
Jesus.
my goodness, that's a lot of money.
They went off with
How
like
did
a
they-
whole injector.
Loads of, yeah.
Well, but still, it's a lot of money.
Wah. It's funny because it's true.
How did they get robbed?
Email scam or something.
Oh,
Damn.
Email accounts were hacked. They hacked the
Email
emails.
Nigerian prince.jpg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an extremely short article.
Yeah, it really is.
There's really not that much known about it. They've been talking about it on the forum a little bit. It's suspected to be a phishing scam that somebody either didn't know about or like got infected with a virus type thing. George Gaskill says kill them all.
Kill the beast.
Which is a little bit extreme, I think. But,
Kill who? We don't know who did it.
It's literally, it's somebody posts a link to it. Second response is makes me mad too. Third response is just kill them all, period.
Kill the beast.
So
Okay.
this is a simple answer, guys. We've just got to kill the internet.
We gotta kill everyone that isn't the Strasbourg Railroad because they
Kill
couldn't install.
everyone that isn't the Strasbourg.
Here, I'll start. Jumps out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
Why-
I get off free because they have one of our engines. We get affected by this too. Yay!
Yay! How exciting! You're losing.
Yay! Because 20 needed more things to go wrong.
Poor
And they
20.
doubt me when I say that engine's cursed. That engine is cursed. Also,
they
who's
should send
dinging?
it back so that you guys
Sorry.
stop stealing money from them secretly.
20 is just in the shop whispering Latin backwards. God damn it!
You send them a ransom note. Give us 20 back, or you'll never see your money again.
Yeah.
Oh, then they'll figure out where they're.
Well, no, not give us 20 back. That send 20 back, or else we'll.
Yeah.
We are the ones that kidnapped her for months.
Yes. We're the mysterious trucker brothers.
It's called
Good
Ajax.
Yeah. Ajax. On a happier side of money, this is one that actually wasn't in the Terminus list. This is one that I just added because I remembered it. The Rocky Mountain Railroad Club, which is apparently still a thing, is in the process of dishing out their summer 2018 historic grants. It's up to 5 grants of $1,000 apiece, or up to $1,000 apiece, that are geared towards smaller, manageable, short-term projects.
Oh,
Like,
boy.
towns, or
Preserving
maybe
a coach.
Yeah, towards like railroad clubs that own equipment to give it a new coat of paint, or to museums to buy this fitting, make a pattern for this fitting for this car that's kind of weird and won't be otherwise done, but it's
Buy
historic.
1/80th of an injector.
Yeah. help the Strasbourg Railroad a little bit. Just sort of oddsy-endsy stuff like that. Again, up to $5 of $1,000 a piece for different projects. They have laid out some evaluation criteria, which is in a PDF document that I've posted as the link, which I think Els just got. So that'll be in the cargoes for this week.
Yoink.
And those proposals, again, obviously it's the Rocky Mountain Division, or no, it's not even the Rocky Mountain Division. It's just the Rocky Club. So probably not a good thing for a park engine in Ohio, but for those of you who may or may not live in Colorado and have small projects like this, those are due on the 30th of April, which as of this recording is exactly 2 weeks and 1 day away.
All right.
Can I just throw out a bit of non-railroad news real quick?
No.
Oh.
What?
Okay.
Wrong
What is
podcast.
it?
I know, but anybody remember Arlie? What's his name? Ermy, also known as the Gunny, the drill sergeant from what movie was that?
Full Metal Jacket.
Thank you. He has passed away.
F.
Him and Bendel.
Man,
This isn't
man,
train.
everybody's done.
Alright. Well, Top Gun podcast.
Yeah.
Any other money stuff? I have a couple of money things.
I don't
have
know.
some money.
Stuff.
You have some money?
Yeah, I got some money. 40 for 49 ran a excursion train. Not just one, but it ran the whole week between Washington, Washington, and Portland, Oregon for IMAX.
So they're
Because
shooting
they-
Tough Guys too?
Right.
Tough
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, Doyle is quoted to say, "Nobody robs trains anymore."
And your
No,
chum.
Doyle leans out the cab. Oh fuck! Not these guys again.
You're John.
Hey, it would be slightly more than 30 years later. They would have just got out of prison.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you two bums, even if it takes another 30 years.
Okay, it actually brings that up. So this is not 4449's first brush with stardom on the silver screen. The locomotive was prominently featured in the 1986 movie Tough Guys, and also appeared in the 1990 film Come See the Paradise. And apparently this new film project has been in the works for nearly 3 years.
Yep.
And
According to Martin Hansen.
yes.
Cool guy.
Who is this other guy? Lowe. Who's this guy? Person whose name is Lowe. Previously made the IMAX movie Rocky Mountain Express, featuring Canadian Pacific 464 2816. Of course.
Ah, the forgotten Hudson.
Why did you say disappointed saying the number of it?
It's because it's one of the Canadian Pacific. One of the Canadian
it's one of the
Pacific
murderers.
Hudsons.
The killers of everything. Yeah.
Anyways,
But
Yeah.
you know who isn't killing everything? Oregon Coast Sheep.
what?
They recently installed no plastic cylinder or pistons in Cooper.
Skookum!
Skook.
Skook boy.
They have
Right.
What is it? It's a 2442?
Yep.
It's so weird.
It's weird. It's kind of cool though.
It is cool. It reminds me of like it's something I'd expect to see at like the Cripple Creek.
Yeah.
Just
Some
weird
goofy
engine.
kind of. Yeah. I could
it's
see
a
that.
goofy standard gauge prototype.
Do
Yeah.
a goofy standard gauge prototype.
Oof. Can't come back from that. Anyways, I
Her
guess
mom's a goofy standard gauge prototype.
you know what?
Oh.
You know what you really can't come back from though?
Hmm.
When they shut down your railroad.
Oof.
Yeah, that's hard to come back from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Saratoga and North Creek, the
Oh.
railroad that there was so much ado about because of a rail trail project and this, that, and the other is
And it's also the good. Listen to that horn guy.
yeah, that's true. It's
Oh,
that
that
guy.
one. Okay.
Yeah, are these the same people that left the BL2 on its side for a week as
Yep.
well?
Yes.
Yeah. They are going to cease operations of their tourist trains. They're not going to lay off their employees, but they don't know how long they're going to remain shuttered. But they do not have the money to continue operating right now.
Oh.
And
Hey, how's that work?
I don't know. Well, they're going to be furloughed, I would assume. The employees.
Okay.
And they're also by Iowa Pacific.
Because say it's like we're going to continue to have the employees on staff despite the fact that we have absolutely no income.
Well, yeah. Well, and they are owned by Iowa Pacific. It's not.
Oh.
They're not
Okay.
on their own.
I thought they're on.
No,
That makes
they
more
would not. He would not say how long the workers would stay on if the railroad was shuttered. The announcement came after company president Ed Ellis told Warren County leaders last week that mounting financial losses would force a closure unless the company can sell a rail line it owns in Essex and northern Warren counties for about $5 million to develop freight business for Mine Stone. I don't know how those two things go together. You'd figure he would be able to buy a line to make a freight business, but the Sanford Laker to Howes line, the railway is also contacted with Revolution Railco, which offers rail bike trail rides. So,
Oh wait.
those are those guys.
We're going to shutter tourist operation, but not lay off the employees and sort of keep the railroad as a somewhat existing thing until this happens with these people. That sounds familiar, Iowa Pacific.
Yeah,
When else have you done that?
never. No.
Oh, crap.
But I mean, at least they've got the rail bikes. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
something.
that's good. Better than the alternative.
They have nothing. Also, what's interesting, and I never thought about this until now, so that they is Saratoga and North Creek, and the line to Tawas, where they want to be able to quarry stone and pull it out and make some money that way. That's part of the NEB&W.
No, boy.
I just realized we have that line on the route.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot,
You should put a
that's
BL2 just off the side of the track.
Yeah. What year was BL2 made?
I don't know.
Yeah, because I think there might be two.
Hey,
BL2 locomotive. 47.
Oh, you know what? I could totally get one and put it down. That'd be awesome. I need to get a BL2 now.
And a BL2 too.
Oh, it's a BL2.
Oh my god.
Let's see if there's more information on here. This is Iowa Pacific may pull plug on Adirondack Railroad.
Well.
Iowa Pacific Holdings and Ellis offered to sell the tracks north of North Creek to the county for $5 million, saying Iowa Pacific can't continue to lose money on the line. Most of that track is actually in Essex County. We weren't able to continue to operate the railroad financially and lose money. There is either a purchase of the Tawas line or we're done. So I don't completely understand the situation, but they need to
Maybe
get some
it's
money.
developing.
No idea.
Yeah. But
No idea.
the other thing is, and this is just sort of another page in the whole rail trail debacle with this line. And this is part of what I read in these articles and part of what I heard from some people at a recent NEB&W meet, but a not insignificant portion of the people that are pushing for turning it into a rail trail don't actually want it to become a rail trail. Because the line to Tawas was built during World War II as basically they had an emergency need for titanium.
Uh-huh.
And so they built this line through what would otherwise be like a scenic preserve. And the goal is to, get the railroad to abandon the line, but then not push for the trail. And, the moment it's no longer a right-of-way, it doesn't qualify to... I don't know what the actual legalese is, but basically it doesn't qualify to continue to exist. So it can return to its, natural state, basically.
Okay.
So, they don't necessarily want a trail, but they're allying themselves with the trail people because the trail people are, also wanting to get the railroad out.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Trail people.
Yeah. But, but there's more of a push there than we want to turn it into a trail.
Yeah.
When he's dying
Yeah,
of
that's
Jesus
true.
Christ.
Somehow I can respect that more than
Yeah,
we
I
want
can
a bike
respect that
trail.
more than, hey, we're gonna take your railroad, turn into a trail because
because we want somewhere else to ride our bikes.
Yeah.
I'm still not a fan of it, and I still hope that the railroad pulls through because I'm a train nut. But yeah, I can certainly respect that more than the bike trail thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm personally not sure where I stand on that because if if it becomes a trail, at least then you have the ability to experience that area. Especially if
but
in this case the railroad is going under.
yeah, you do. Even with the railroad not going under though, and prior to this news announcement, the case was, oh, we need to get rid of the railroad that is otherwise doing okay so we can have a bike trail.
Mhm.
I feel like the at least you could still experience it card was sort of like, yeah, if you want to experience it, you can go and ride the train. Well, no, we want to ride our bikes. I feel like that was a little bit more needy. The wanting it to be a scenic preserve seems to be a little bit more like, oh, okay, that's fair. You don't necessarily want to just have it your way.
This isn't Burger King.
Yeah. Hold the pickles,
Seems
hold the
Sammy
lettuce.
very
Shut up,
fair.
lady. You upset us. All we ask is that you leave the Burger King. Anyways,
Moving
but
on.
I have something
Moving
to hop
on.
off of from this.
What?
so anyway, completely unrelated note.
Okay.
Recently in Buffalo, New York, a leased locomotive that was running under Progress Rail, but it was working with NS units. It's a CSX SD70 Ace, I think.
Hey.
I don't know. It's big, it's blue, and it's square.
Yes,
in
it is.
CSX paint.
It's an
Okay,
SC-78.
Okay, cool. I think that's the first time I've got that right. Anyway, they basically patched out the CSX on the side and nose and replaced it with the old Chesapeake and Ohio logos because the paint scheme is essentially the C&O paint.
Mm-hmm. It was
Which-
it was Progress Rail got the engine and they patched it to Progress Rail, and then these guys came in and patched it to C&O.
Which is hilarious because CSX then put out a public statement. CSX takes the use of trademarks, logos, and service marks very seriously and has outlined our position on our website. Proper use of the marks reinforces their distinctive identity and value, while unauthorized use and variation of the marks dilutes and undermines their marketing strength, their owners' trademark rights, and the economic value of the intellectual property asset. As I said to the guys before starting this, I'll sort of censor myself, but all I can picture upon reading that is George Carlin in one of his more famous bits. You can't talk about that. You can't make jokes about that. That's not funny. F you, I think it's hilarious.
Here's the thing,
You
though.
can't.
They have to say this.
They do have to say this.
They have to
They
say
do have
this
to say
because
this.
otherwise they're basically sanctioning graffitiing their engines.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like you could, if you're going to issue a statement, which in the first place, if I was in their shoes, I don't think I would have issued a statement. I think I would have just quietly patched it back to CSX. But if you are going to release a statement, why would you go about condemning the use of logos that you hold the intellectual property to? Why wouldn't you condemn, I don't know, the actual illegal thing, which is graffitiing your locomotives?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Just-
like when that Union Pacific engine got graffitied into that Tiger, which was amazing.
And
But
the
it's still
SP
graffiti.
notes that
Yeah.
got put on one UP diesel.
Yeah, I mean, condemning graffiti is a good thing. It's an illegal activity. It is a complete lack of respect for somebody else's property, and yada 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 yada. I have really no love for graffiti artists or whatever, but I feel like going about this, well, using these logos is a complete and utter disrespect. Isn't that like the pot calling the kettle black, CSX? Because you have done so well to respect the logos, trademarks, and whatever the hell else you outlined of your the marketing strength and the economic value of the intellectual property asset.
I mean, they
Yeah.
When was the
didn't,
last time?
they didn't
when was
take
the
it in-
last time?
they didn't take it and paint it on stuff that wasn't theirs. So
It's like, when
Yeah.
was the last time you used the CNO logo? Oh yeah, right. Ages.
Yeah, well, and it's not like they painted, oh, CNO sucks or anything. I think, quite honestly, and this is just a farmer's this is from a farmer's point of view, I think it's kind of a fitting tribute. I wish that they would have just a CNO painted unit. It's like a heritage unit.
oh yeah, well you
Yeah.
can't do that. You can't. Don't be ridiculous.
No, you can't. You
No,
couldn't
no.
possibly do that. We can't use these logos. Then people might think that we actually are, interesting. Because then what does C and O stand for? You can't get crash, smash, explode out of that.
No, I don't.
But-
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, they definitely have to. I think they have to issue a statement like this. I feel like it could have been worded better. The thing that they're harping on doesn't make a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
but they definitely
It's a-
do have to say something.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they thought this would be a stronger statement than
I-
a
no
general
way.
one against graffiti.
Yeah.
But you don't want to. You in their position, you don't want to say nothing.
I suppose.
Because then
I mean,
you're
I look at it this way, though. When a locomotive is laid up in kind of a, not a real well-guarded freight yard overnight, and the locomotive just gets tagged with normal graffiti, not anything super amazing like the Tiger or something foamy like the CNO, you don't hear anything about it. They just clean it up and patch it back to normal and repaint the engine.
yeah, but
they
at
don't-
the
They
same
don't issue a statement about it.
no, but at the same time, any old engine getting graffitied isn't picked up by a major magazine saying, "Look, they painted Dick on the side
Well,
of it."
Yeah, but it was after the fact that they had issued the statement that trains picked it up. I feel like they sort of caused their own, they drew a little more attention to this than they would have needed to.
Yeah.
In addition to their statement being, I think you said it really well. It's not about it not making sense as much as it's just kind of confusing. Like, what exactly do you mean, guys? What are you going for here?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Funny little thing. It's, hey, now we have a picture that's not photoshopped of a C&O SD70 Ace.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
So that's something to get out of it. Anyway, other one on the note of legality in the East. This with Norfolk Southern. There was a collision recently. Where was this collision? This is in Kentucky somewhere.
Lexington.
Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you.
Mhm.
And Norfolk Southern it was a head-on collision, I believe. They're
Wow.
filing a lawsuit against the crew of the train at fault or whatever to be liable for the accident.
Oh.
And I'm not real sure what to think on this one. I mean, that's on one hand, yes, it is technically their fault, and they should be held liable and all that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, these are two guys that screwed up. Usually, the approach is if they are found to be personally liable for the accident, they're fired, and that's enough of a you're fired for negligence or whatever, all that yada yada yada. To be held financially responsible for an accident like this, I don't mean to over dramatize it, but I think it's pretty safe to say that's life ruining.
Yeah, it
That's
really
money.
is.
That's potentially multiple millions of dollars that you have now, you're just suddenly in debt essentially forever.
Yeah.
I will be interested to see how this one goes. I'm curious as to see what the union will think of this and what the union can actually do, because this in my opinion is what unions are for. It's not about all the stuff that you hear about unions nowadays so much as it is about keeping the company from just picking on employees.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't know how much the union can do if, per the NTSB or whatever investigative body has looked into this, has found the crew to be personally liable because of specific rules infractions and stuff like that. I know the union has more power if people are fired quote unquote unjustly.
Yeah.
If it's something that another body has said, yes, this is something that Norfolk Southern can do and this is fair, they might kind of have their hands tied. I don't know. We'll continue to report on that one. There's not really a lot with it, and I'm not really interested in going into the rest of it just for the sake of these crew members' privacy. I have a feeling if anybody was in a similar position to this, they would want it to be kept kind of quiet and on the down low. It's becoming such a PR nightmare, turning hell worse somehow. So we'll keep everybody posted on that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's very interesting to see where that goes. There's certainly
Very
a lot of
interesting.
accidents. It's unusual to see the company suing its employees.
It's very interesting. Again, usually the response is you fired.
You fired.
Which is a
Fine.
normal
And
response.
it's an automatic. It's an automatic response for as per their contract. The article states, if going past a stop signal, which they did, is you're automatically fired,
Right.
which they
And that's-
allegedly did.
Right. And I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's like, does the union have power to help them in any of this? I don't know. They did run a red signal. They were in direct violation of their contract, which caused this many millions of dollars in damage and collateral for NS. I suppose they could be held personally liable.
Mm-hmm.
In a very utilitarian sense, they almost should be held liable. But you think about that realistically, that's horrible.
Yeah, it's like the in a way, it's like, what is it? The thing that we covered, I think, last time, the guys who stole stuff.
From the bridge project?
Whatever it was, where they ended up owing like $450,000 a piece.
Yeah.
It's like, good luck paying that back ever.
Yeah, but that one was.
That one was deserved because they stole it. I'm just saying,
Right,
like,
that
when
one
you find
that
somebody
wasn't
that
an
much
accident or negligence
No.
or a lapse in concentration. That was a conscious choice to try and screw somebody over,
Yeah.
which backfired, and so now you're screwed over. That,
Yeah.
by the way, wasn't covered on the podcast. That was in a.
money. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I had a feeling it was sooner than that. Oh yeah, because that was Longfellow Bridge. That's right.
Yeah. The wonderful riveted bridge that gave me faith in humanity
Yes.
again.
But
Oh my god, it's pretty.
Moving on along, UP's putting the big boy back together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yay!
About
Ed
time.
Dickens keeps his dick.
what, do you
Yeah,
have
I
a
guess
bet
it
about it or something?
What?
Did you have a bet about it or something with him?
No. He's been quoted multiple times saying, everybody's asked him, "Are you gonna get it finished?" And his response has always been something along the lines of, "It damn well better be." And we all know that's because if it's not, it very well might be his ass.
That and it would be a PR nightmare.
Yeah, which is why it would be his ass. And none of us
His
want
dick.
that. He's
No.
done good for the Heritage Fleet, all that kind of stuff.
Except for 3985, who is still in pieces.
It's not like he's seeing
He's
spare
got-
parts for
He
it,
quite
too.
literally has bigger fish to fry
Oh,
currently.
yes.
Yeah, but it's his fault.
still, they ran that engine to the ground.
Again, I don't know if that's his fault.
Yeah.
But before Dick,
The difficulty with the 3985 debacle, if you're not actually involved with the industry,
hmm
a lot of Steve Lee's cronies were pissed off when Steve Lee got, kind of dishonorably discharged,
Oh.
Dishonor.
and so went on just a PR, basically just tried to drag Ed's name through the mud. He couldn't do anything right because they were pissed off about Lee being fired,
Right.
or I'm sorry, about Lee retiring.
retiring.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. What's the news
What news?
about the big boy? You just said that they're putting
Oh.
the big boy back together, and that was it.
That's literally what they're doing. They're in the process of putting it back together.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
They're still working out the oil firing, but it's making progress.
Cool.
That's
The
good.
note of putting things back together. In Antonito, Colorado, Stothy Papas has a boiler.
Stop the papas!
Stothy got a boiler. I still need to go down
the
and meet
frame.
Stothy.
I was gonna click that, but then it was disappeared
Nope.
from me.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Womp womp. The boiler for White Pass and Yukon 61? 61?
Yeah, 61.
I can never remember.
Consolidation.
Yeah, well, it's identical to a C21, discounting the boiler pressure. But regardless, he got the boiler up from Texas recently, trucked it into Antietam. They're currently conducting the ultrasound test on it. Roughly 4 hours ago at the time of this recording, there was a post on Facebook from Stockton Locomotive Works, which is his company. Boiler survey in progress. Yes, folks, that is metric and the tubes need to be removed, but the amazing news is, thus far, the boiler shell calcs out. That's right, her original 180 psi operating pressure, the shell is thick enough, and the engineering is clean. Certainly firebox work is necessary given our UT work, but past 61 has passed the first hurdle in her return to operation. Firebox sheet removal is already in process. Stay tuned for more updates. I don't know if that's side sheets or a crown sheet that need to be replaced. Either way, it's not going to be fun, and I wish you luck. Have fun, Stothy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's doing some good stuff.
He's doing good stuff. He does, from what I've heard, and again, I've never met him in person, but if I've not said it on the podcast before, from what I've heard, he does absolutely fantastic work.
Oh, God. So, I have a story about a coach.
Uh-oh.
Right.
And I'm trying to piece it all together right now because it's in two different articles. And,
Oh, I know this coach.
yeah. This unfortunate coach, this
Unfortunate coach.
Amtrak coach that was found during the renovation of a mill complex. And the this parcel of woods was purchased, and they were clearing it, and they found an Amtrak car, and the spokesperson for the guy who's working on the thing said the plan right now is scrap metal, which is unfortunate, and there's the question of how did this car get there in the first place. There are stories that it had been a restaurant on Federal Hill, carted to Warwick in the dark of night after the tenants couldn't pay the rent, but there's no proof of that.
That sounds like don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah. When asked how it got there, an unnamed man who's been living in the Pontiac neighborhood for decades said, "Dirty politics. It opened for a week or so before you know it, boom,
Dirty
closed."
politics.
He doesn't remember what the restaurant was called. It doesn't jive with the history of the car that NBC 10 found, as the coach dates back to the 1960s and was reconfigured as a 50-seat snack bar coach in 68. It was sold to Amtrak in 73, retired and stored in 77. But after that, nobody's quite sure, until the 1990s, where, according to the neighbor, it was a failed attempt at a stationary dining car restaurant. And so there's a second article, found next to Pontiac Mills. When Tom May saw the story, he started having flashbacks to 79. He was hired to be the contractor to transform two old 1940s Amtrak train cars that had been repurposed and operable over the decades. The train cars were eventually sold by Amtrak to Lou Spirito, who was part owner of the Waltz Roast Beef franchise. The plan was to rename the cars the Betsy Williams and Roger Williams to become the Big Angus Barbecue Station at Pontiac Mills, connected by a structure that resembled a train station.
God damn it.
Good.
So, but the money ran out, the business was closed, and the guy, this guy in particular was out $40,000 for his deal on the work. One of the cars was sold, which is now back in service in Pennsylvania, and the other one remained forgotten, and now has to go. So,
apparently it was Ducks New York Central too.
The current scrap market price would be about $5,000. Donating it to a museum would be a tax write-off. Edward said preserving history is the right way to go, but, we'll see where this coach goes with its strange, shrouded history.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out in the end it was owned by the mafia.
I wouldn't be surprised in the least.
The article begins, he's flashing back to 1979. All I can hear is in my head gunfire in the background. They're in the trees!
Good
He
morning,
gets
Vietnam.
flashing back to 1979. It's like he sees the car and begins relapsing.
Yeah.
He's a sleeper agent. The coach is his trigger.
Yeah.
Also, if this is meant to be a restaurant, why is it in an area? You know, you picture where a
It's in
restaurant
the
is.
woods.
Yeah, it's surrounded by people. It's a relatively populated area. No wonder it failed. If it's to the point where if you leave it for 30 years, people will literally forget that it ever existed, and nobody will know it's there.
Well, apparently, they wanted to turn it into this place with
What was the name of it again?
I need to go back.
The amazing, the wonderful name of
The
it.
Waltz Barbecue Station or something.
Yeah, something like that. I thought it was Big Joe's or
Yeah.
something like that. Barbecue
Hold on,
Station.
I still have the article up.
Big Angus Barbecue
Yeah.
Station or something like that.
It
Big
was-
Angus Barbecue Station at Pontiac Mills.
Yeah. So they were supposed to have these two cars there and then build a building to attach them, but they never built the building and the plot has just been empty and
It's
full of
just
woods.
them some dense woods though.
Yeah.
Nobody looks over in the winter when all the trees are dead and goes, "Hey, look at that! There's a fucking train car in there."
Oh,
Joey,
how did that get there?
hey, Joey, look at the fucking tubes. Why is that no tubes?
Yep. That's
That's a thing.
it's interesting. Only
Mm.
of course. But anyways, there's something I want to get to. Now, this is totally off topic. But it's something I want to get
Alright.
to. And CSX being CSX. I have
Oh,
a
no.
few CSX related things, but let's talk about this one first because there happens to be 10 million pounds of bio waste
Sapient fecal matter.
sitting in a rural Alabama rail yard next to a town of about 1,000 people who were very unhappy with a million pounds of poo making the entire place smell.
Just. I don't think anything more needs to be said on the matter on that one.
It was supposed to. It was supposed to go to this place called Big Sky Environmental, which is a private landfill in Adamsville, Alabama. But back in January, the neighboring town filed an injunction against Big Sky to basically prevent CSX from doing exactly what it's doing to this other town now. They said, you can't leave the trains of poop in the rail yard next to our town. And CSX said, okay, we'll do it somewhere else.
We'll leave them here. Why couldn't it be a trainload of chairs? Why is that never what you hear about? You never hear about, this is a trainload of chairs has been stranded here for 3 weeks or whatever. No, it's a trainload of human waste.
Quote, God help us if it gets hot.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
And then, quote, you can't open your door because that stuff gets in your house. It's really rough. Other residents said the waste smells like dead bodies. But it's not dangerous because it's not raw sewage. It's been processed.
I
But that
just
doesn't-
like that.
But that doesn't make it smell any better.
Yeah,
I
it
just
doesn't
like
make
the,
it-
I just like the fact that the rail transport cars are epic.
Yeah, they're epic.
They're epic.
I've seen
It's an
plenty of
epic-
them.
It's an epic dump.
Oh,
252 tractor trailer loads of raw sewage, or not raw sewage, of grade A bio waste.
So CSX train number 1 is the Tropicana fruit train. Train number 2, the number 2.
This is
Yeah.
train number 2.
Train number 2. Oh. To those in that town, God be with
Yeah,
you.
I'm sorry, Parish.
Good luck.
God better be with them. The town's name is Parish.
Of course it is.
what's the name
you
of the
know,
town?
It's some holy
Oh no. Oh, is it spelled parish like holy parish, not parish like that?
No, it's Parish, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it is holy parish.
Oh no.
Holy
Oh.
And it's CSX too, so you know they're gonna come up to the cars to try and move them and immediately roll all of them over.
Oh, that's
and then things
Hey,
got worse.
Yeah.
Oh, how can it get worse
Hey, in
from
4
there?
years you'll have strawberry bushes everywhere, but
They're just gonna
For the
take it
time
and use it
being.
as fertilizer for their gardens.
ugh.
But you know, sometimes it's sewage, sometimes it's hell.
Yes.
Amtrak is trying to prepare New Yorkers for another summer of hell, as more repairs on Penn Station must commence. And that is why, we've talked about their rerouting some Empire, Ethan Allen trains, Adirondack trains, Maple Leaf trains into Grand Central, which is why we had the whole debacle with the FL9s last time. But
Full 9.
there will be some quote-unquote critical reconstruction on the Empire Tunnel, the Spuyten-Duyvil Bridge, and Track 19 in Penn Station. So there's going to be some work done. It's not going to be as disruptive as last summer, but it is going to be quite a lot of work. And hopefully they can do it as well as they did last time. I believe last time they actually got finished ahead of schedule. So, they're going to be replacing about 8,000 feet of rail, including some stuff in a tunnel, some grade crossings, and some stuff on the Spuyten-Duyvil Bridge, which includes some mechanical and electrical equipment because it's a swing bridge and it was kind of flooded by that hurricane, that big one from a little while ago, if you remember. That happened. And they're updating the schedule, etc., etc. But yeah, Summer of Hell Part 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. It's number 2.
Can we talk about something that's
Arriving
not number
on
2?
track
Can we call it? Well,
3,
you want to talk
train
about something that's not number
number
2?
How about a crash? Let's talk about a crash.
I mean, that's pretty crappy.
Well,
I've got
it's Heritage
Well,
versus
I'm about ready
Chevy.
to talk about it.
Guess who won?
Well, by the looks of it, the Chevy lost.
Yeah, the Chevy
Yeah.
lost big time.
The goose
yeah.
loses. Also, it looks photoshopped. I swear to God, it looks
It
photoshopped.
really does look photoshopped.
I was only convinced that it happened by the second picture.
Yep.
Does-
So on a little railway called the Wedgepool and Llanfair Light Railway Line,
Llanfair.
Llanfair. My
Llanfair.
Welsh is not all that great.
Welshpool and Llanfair.
Listen
I
to what he said.
Operations were suspended and
I said pause police.
A spokeswoman for the police added, police received a report of the collision between cars.
This doesn't even make any sense. Basically, train versus car, train won.
Yeah, it says significant damage was caused to the locomotive. It does not look like it.
No, I call bullshit on that.
It doesn't look like the
Really
train hit
doesn't.
anything.
It doesn't even look like
the-
the car suffered significant damage. It looks like it was just lightly tapped.
Like the glass lens on the lamp on the head end
Yeah.
of the engine wasn't damaged.
That'll buff
Locomotive.
right out, It'll just...
Yeah, the engine should be fine. If the engine isn't fine after hitting a spark, yikes.
Yeah.
Well, on the note of England, fairly big news actually recently.
Ah,
few-
yes.
A few days ago, Tornado was running a special excursion on the main line of the what is
East
it?
Coast.
No, it's a name train.
Zero.
Hogwarts Express.
Can't remember.
Wasn't Hogwarts.
Sure, it's the Hogwarts Express. Regardless, Tornado was pulling a name train of some sort on the East Coast main line, and after hitting 90 miles an hour on the run, suffered a serious mechanical failure of the internal motion. I don't know if it's the valve gear or the motion itself, but yeah, ouch.
Not good either way.
Not good. They were stalled on the main line for some time. They had to get a diesel to eventually bring it to the next station.
Stupid disease.
Yeah, really, really not good for them. There's really not much known about it. They haven't released any details about what actually happened with it. I'm not sure that they've actually gone through and done a proper inspection of it. I mean, like over a pit and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason these sorts of things happen, you know, you'll get a mechanical failure. Tornado, all things considered, for the amount that it has run, has done splendidly for reliability.
Mm-hmm.
The big shame about this crash, though, or not this crash, about this failure. Yeah, not a crash. Good God, no. The big shame about this one is, although it's not believed that speed was the cause of the mechanical failure, because it happened right as, you know, during a run while they were up to speed, and as they're pushing for looser regulations on steam excursions going faster. You know, they just did the 100-mile-an-hour run a few months ago to prove that it's viable and steam engines can do that safely.
Downhill grade.
Yeah, to trying to get the network rail or whatever the governing power be is to allow them to run regularly at 90 miles an hour. First 90-mile-an-hour run with passengers, you'd suffer a serious mechanical failure.
They're trying to loosen up the regulations so that when the T1 beats them,
Yeah.
they can try and take it back.
Here's the thing: where would the T1 even run to make that attempt?
Pueblo,
Pueblo.
Mm,
the test track. It's where
fair
you can.
enough.
It's like the only place you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
maybe like Kansas. Get
Yeah,
some
I
of
mean,
your-
realistically, like getting track permission and all that kind of stuff. Like you should probably the best place to do it would be the Northeast Corridor, just because it's super smooth, super elevated, high speed running track. But
Actually, that would
you
be.
never get the permission to do
yeah,
it.
no, you can't. You can't.
You can't do it in Kansas either.
Yep. Yeah, well, yeah, Kansas isn't designed for that. You need to make a second test track in Kansas. That's just a straight line.
Yeah.
Anyways, or in Pennsylvania. You know, don't see why not. Standards.
Yeah,
and all.
yeah.
Actually, they are going to be doing some major changes to their railroad infrastructure. Governor Wolf of Pennsylvania announced some investments that he wants to do, which will sustain about 400 jobs, which is cool.
That's a lot.
But they voted to approve a $32 million for the projects through the Rail Transportation Assistance Program, which is RTAP, RTAP, and the Rail Freight Assistance Program, which is RFAP.
Of course it is.
And they do a spiel about how important they are. But Pennsylvania, with 67 operating railroads, has more than any other state. And PennDOT's focus is on working with private rail operators to assist in maintaining and improving roughly 5,600 miles of freight lines in the state. So there's a list of freight lines that needs to be done. Allegheny Valley Railroad Company, Tex Industries, Tube City, Allegheny, Washington, Beaverton counties, Bucks County, Cambria County. It lists all the counties and the stuff within. Lackawanna County, Scranton Transload Incorporated rehabilitate 0.25 miles of track from Delaware-Lackawanna's line to Scranton Transload Facility. The Delaware-Lackawanna Railroad Co. Incorporated rehabilitate 19 miles of track at the Carbondale line and construct a 1,000-foot yard track, including ties, track servicing, and bridge repairs. Lehigh County, I wanted to highlight that one in particular because that's the DNL, or the DL. But yeah, some cool improvements coming that way. I like these, big things. Oh. Anyways.
Alright. To throw back to the whale trail topic that we talked about earlier, Salmonberry Trail has signed their lease with the port of Tillamook Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they post the link to the whole agreement at some point, but they have signed it, and as far as I know, it's the reworked agreement where they aren't screwing over OCSR,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. So that's that. We're at the museum. We redid our track recently, and we got it put back in place. Just need to go through, do some backfilling on between our concrete supports. Beer Whale is getting new coaxes from Bombardier for, well, actually, no, they're getting 17 coaxes upgraded from them
Be real.
with help from federal coffers, which is good news for Beer Whale.
Be real.
Considering- Considering these 17 passenger cars date back to 1950.
At least they're getting
Yeah.
them upgraded instead of just taking them out of service.
Tampa and Dino is now out. It's at pretty much LA. Okay.
Yeah. For Run 8.
Kansas City Southern is apparently getting tangled up by the UP's Houston area past months, which I'm not surprised about, because UP's had this happen before in the area. Earlier, I posted in chat about
I'm not sure we can really hear you.
Ohio Railway.
Yeah, I was hoping that was only on my end, but
No,
I was
it
hearing
never
it
is.
too.
great.
Okay, but anyways, Ohio Railway Museum
There he
is
is.
bringing another streetcar back to life.
Where is that?
Columbus. It's apparently the last surviving Columbus streetcar,
Okay, interesting.
and they're going to do a full restoration of it to operation.
Cool.
And there's a GoFundMe for it. And yeah,
Well, I wanted to
And-
mention this because you mentioned rail trails. There's a there was a trail. Where is this guy? It's in Mardick Township. It's in the Enola Low Grade Trail. This is I don't know what state this is in, but
it ain't PA.
I would assume so, I guess. But there's wood fires can melt steel beams because there's the deck of this pedestrian bridge on the trail. It's a pretty good sized bridge too, but the whole deck of it burned. 98% of the wood is gone, and they're having to do evaluations on the steel on the bridge because there appears to be deflection due to the fire. I'm not familiar with this particular trail, but this is opened. It opened in 2015, and PennDOT is going to assess the damage. So it's in Pennsylvania, in Lancaster County. I don't know what the goal exactly is now, but it appears that they put the fire out. They got the fire under control and got it sorted, but they're having to do some, like I said, structural inspections on the bridge before they, can proceed, which is unfortunate. Anyways, have you got anything else interesting? Anything else, exciting, fun, whatever? Although there is something I want to talk about while I have everybody hostage here. But 1 second, I need to put.
Uh-oh.
And it has to do with the big piece of news, the one that we talked about last week, and that we've talked about very briefly. And we brought up because the who was it that said that they weren't going to have? Oh yeah, the first piece of news. So because of Amtrak's new restrictions, the things that they won't do, they are it sort of brought the attention of a lot of these other little firms that do excursions. In fact, I had an article about the New River Train. Yeah, they're trying to preserve the New River Train for because it is an excursion that Amtrak previously ran, and quote, Amtrak is committed to working to preserve the New River Train. Apparently, this one matters enough to them. Amtrak recognized the importance and more than half-century tradition of the New River Train and hidden railroad days. Amtrak is willing to make some limited exemptions to its ban on chartered trains, and after our call, I feel confident will be granted this exception. So this was...
Which I do have a Trains Magazine article for.
Yeah?
Detailing their ban.
Yeah.
That pretty much they're not allowed special trains and certain private barness moves.
Mm-hmm.
Because the CEO said no. We
Yeah.
aren't doing this.
I believe we talked about this, last episode a little bit. But here's the thing. So, there is a Trains Magazine article now, and this is posted by Jim Rinn, and he says, rolling back Amtrak's private car restrictions and special train ban won't be easy. Here's how to do it. And this is something I wanted to bring up, and I brought this up with you briefly, Webold. It's like, you even asked, when we were talking about it, you asked, like, what excursions are run by Amtrak?
Mm-hmm.
Because it turns out that most of the big steam, aside from, like, 844, most of the big steam locomotives that are going out and doing excursions are usually done in some form through Amtrak. Some of them will have, a P-42 that's attached to the train for power or whatever, but a lot of the time it's just they're getting the track permissions through them. And so, and in some cases even the consist, but that's less common. But
Nowadays it's less common.
yeah. But it's interesting that you had to ask that question. Because you'd think that if Amtrak is putting on something like that, you'd see their name on it somewhere. And the fact of the matter is typically you didn't. And
Yeah.
And or don't.
yeah, and or don't. It won't now. Sort of the idea is, like, well, why? Why didn't Amtrak ever get credit? Why didn't they ever even advertise, Amtrak when you have this captive audience? And he sort of brings this up, and I hope some of my friends in the private car business in the nonprofit world, and who run that handful of mainline steam locomotives will do more than just demand that Anderson bend to their wishes. I hope they'll think about what they can do to make it in Amtrak's best interest to run their private cars and special trains. And so he brings up a couple of ideas, and the first one is a solemn pledge and a solemn plan to police themselves and eliminate bad actors in the private car arena who scoff at safety rules. Now, I'm not too familiar with the private car arena, but if there are, the writer of this article asserts that yes, there are private car operators who have behaved badly and they need to be sidelined. So, it appears to me that, there are, there's a group of individuals or groups of individuals that sort of basically we're making it more of a hassle for Amtrak than it ever needed to be to move a private car because they weren't paying attention to their regs and things of that sort. And it's interesting to me that it's, A, we've never heard about this, and B, that there isn't this, like, blacklist. Because you'd think that doing something like that, especially with Amtrak, would get you on a list pretty fast.
That's what I was going to say, especially with something that's already so, like, the requirements to get a car certified to be runnable on Amtrak, the Blue Card certification, holy Moses, is that a tedious process. I'm really surprised that it's, it seems like in every other aspect of it, they are really, really strict.
Mm-hmm. But, you
Which
gotta
in
wonder
fairness,
what,
you have to be.
Yeah, and you gotta wonder what the rules were that they broke. I'm curious at least to know. I don't know all the facets of what it is, what it means to have a private car and to run a private car.
I know some of the more minor ones that are broken more frequently, just from talking to a couple of guys that have had private cars in the past. One of them is you have to have it unlocked and accessible to Amtrak personnel 24/7, sorry, not 24/7, just whenever it's connected to a train.
All the time. Doesn't matter where it is. Amtrak personnel are going to come in and hang out in your car.
Amtrak personnel can walk up to your house and say, "Hey, give us your keys to the car. We're having a party." Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Whenever it's connected to a train, it has to be unlocked and accessible to Amtrak employees, and that one is one that I know sometimes doesn't go followed, whether or not that's, they can't come in my private car, blah, 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 or they just forget to unlock the door, which that one I could see is probably more common. Little things like maybe not necessarily behavioral issues, but you didn't check to make sure that your paperwork's in order. Now it's a headache that we have to deal with, or, the train is delayed until we can get the paperwork sorted out, and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Because the sheer amount of certificates and inspections that these cars carry, good God.
Yeah.
It's like when you get in the elevator and you see all the plaques, like...
Yeah. It'd be a full-time job managing just the whereabouts of a car and keeping it up to date and workable. Much less just having it as a hobby like most people do.
Some people have more.
I wonder if it's minor stuff like that just caused little nitpicky type stuff, or if it is serious, they were disobeying safety rules, or they were, something more nefarious even, maybe, like running scams, or...
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. I'm with you. I'd be curious.
Yeah, it does say safety rules specifically, but the other thing you mentioned, and you brought it up, if you don't have your paperwork in order and it's a big headache and now you've delayed the train, now you're cutting into Amtrak's bottom line. Like,
right.
That
one's a big issue.
Yeah, that I feel like would be the biggest issue, to say, or, for Amtrak when they're having to deal with somebody whose disregard or, whose negligence or whatever isn't necessarily impacting safety.
Or just sheer, innocent, honest mistake, because... Seriously, if you've never looked over it, I would really recommend looking into Amtrak Blue Card stuff. It is insane.
I have glanced at it. It's a long list.
It's a very long list.
So the next thing is the thing that I actually, sort of harped on about. They need to make sure that Amtrak gets its due credit when they run a train. Under Amtrak, that's the other thing. It's not necessarily just the consists, because those are less common. It's not the fact that they're providing a locomotive and a crew. It's the fact that you're going under their insurance. Amtrak provides the insurance for a lot of these excursions, and
that was the reason I was a little confused in the article when they cited financial reasoning. I'm surprised it wasn't a liability argument.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it seems like they aren't distrusting of the steam engines and their crews and stuff, because there hasn't really been a high-profile steam engine incident, unless you want to talk about Russ Rowland.
Since Gettysburg, argue.
Yeah,
well. There's no reason for them to distrust them.
No.
But at the same time, the insurance companies don't know these people. Just the way that insurance companies work, I'm kind of surprised they can do it at all.
Yeah.
Although, granted, who provides Amtrak's insurance? I can't imagine they get it from Geico.
I don't know. It's a good question.
15 minutes could save you 15 or more minutes because
you're
going to be delayed.
Can I bundle my home and steam locomotive?
Yeah.
My home and Amfleet?
Can I borrow my Union Terminal and P42?
But that's the other thing. That insurance risk must be enormous. And I mean, think about it. That's what sunk the 765 excursions over the Tunkhannock. A couple of years ago.
That's what sinks everything nowadays is the liability of it.
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
And Amtrak, Amtrak doesn't exactly toot its horn about these. Like, again, I didn't realize that so many of these excursions were run thanks to Amtrak. Until this thing. And now these people will, probably, possibly have to get their own insurance, which that's going to be astronomical.
To the point that it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to get Fort Wayne to pay the insurance to do
765 running. That's just not going to happen.
And think about it. You'd think with Amtrak taking on all this liability, that you might want to use your, and this is a couple of his points mixed together, you might want to use your captive audience that's stuck on this train to sort of sell your product.
Mm-hmm.
I found out their insurance.
Who insures
Oh
them?
boy.
AARP?
No, it's passenger railroad insurance.
That sounds wonderfully generic.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there isn't a
It's
lot of
okay.
competition in that field.
Yeah.
No. But you know what's ironic? It's owned by Amtrak.
So they're self-insured.
They're self-insured.
It's
Well,
self-insured,
well, that
yeah.
means they're getting the insurance through Amtrak.
Which also means that even from the liability standpoint, we're talking about, potentially with a delay, you're eating into their bottom line. The liability is eating into their bottom line too, because it's not just an insurance premium that the company then has to pay for. They are the company.
Yeah. It's like, man, if we F this up, we're gonna owe ourselves a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's like they get into an accident. We gotta call the insurance company. We are the insurance company. Oh. Great.
No, they hold up one phone to their right ear and the other to their left ear. Hello?
What? This isn't covered? No, it's not.
Listen here, you asshole. Don't call me an asshole. I have a wife and kids. I do too. Yeah? Yeah. What are their names? Really? Same as mine.
But you think, okay, and it comes around to, so Amtrak earns around, and this is where they drop the numbers bomb on you. Amtrak earns about $3.7 million in private car moves and special trains. $3.7 million is
Annually.
yeah, $3.7 million annually, out of their budget.
Yeah.
That's a chunk of change.
That's a decent amount of money.
Yeah,
For
they're over,
government,
but
that's
they're
not much. But
yeah, but that's what I'm getting to. Their overall budget is about $2.2 billion. So
yeah,
it's
not a lot.
what they get in these resource allocation, where they have to take an engine, they have to take a crew, and they have to provide the insurance, they have to do all these things. They're getting less than 0.1% of what they receive annually to run the company. Through revenue and through funding. It's not a lot of money, comparatively. And it's the kind of thing where I don't doubt that they think that these resources could be better used elsewhere to take these resources and make more than 3.7 million, because they're saving all the time. Because there's an opportunity cost to earning that 3.7 million. It might be more worth it to do something else with those resources.
Right.
We don't know. We're not Amtrak CEOs.
Well, that's an odd place to get
No,
your
we're not.
insurance for an American railroad.
What?
Bermuda.
Yeah.
That's a front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like how every ship you've ever heard of is registered in Panama. Nobody's insured through Bermuda. That's a front.
Yeah. Alright.
Remember, the traditions may seem foreign and strange to someone who isn't from train world. When Anderson, a former airline CEO, went to work as Amtrak's new boss, I have a vision of his staff sitting him down to explain private cars. I can see them using an analogy that goes something like this. From time to time, on our Washington to Chicago route, we carry a 1920s private car with a dozen people on it. It's like tying a Jenny biplane to the back of a 777.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's not something that he'd be used to.
Yeah. I always thought when you flew coach on airlines, well, I hear people talking about, oh yeah, we're flying coach. I thought they just had a separate fuselage strapped to the tail.
It's a flying
Like,
coach,
Yeah. Well, it's like a one of the planes that pulls banners.
Yeah. You
But
just sit
instead
on
of
that.
a banner, it's just another fuselage without wings.
I bet you the Russians tried that.
I bet you.
Trust me, I'm an engineer.
I am interested to see where, where this Amtrak story goes, basically. How the CEO handles everything. He's definitely not going to be receiving much love from the private railroading community with, the way he's doing this.
I'd imagine he's probably received many, many death threats
Yeah.
already.
Some hate mail.
Probably.
Yeah, because
it's good to talk about business and all this kind of stuff, and as foamers, we really don't have much ground to talk about this because we kind of harp on and on about it anyway. For those people at Amtrak, whatever, you got to remember private cars are usually like another mortgage for these people. It's expensive to do the private car stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not just a big financial liability for Amtrak. It's arguably a bigger financial liability for the private owners of these cars because they don't have a $2.2 billion annual budget.
No.
No.
I mean that being said, yeah, if it's a mortgage, it's a mortgage. But that being said, it's not like people are expecting to get a return on their private car.
Yeah, and it's not Amtrak's obligation either. It's just something to bear in mind of there is a little bit of humility involved in this as well.
Yeah.
This is something that people really do enjoy and have a lot, both financially and time-wise, invested in.
Mm-hmm.
So here's to that going better.
Yeah. I think I want to read more about this whole. I have another article which is, can Sunnyside become the city's newest transit hub? Which is, something about New York City and the area near. An area that's sort of across the bridge from Penn Station, so to speak. And they would like to revolutionize it, turn it into a transit hub. And Queens, where it is kind of a transit desert. As far as,
drink.
Aside from Staten Island, Queens is almost definitely the worst off in terms of transit options. So it would be cool to see this happen, but the question of, can a giant terminal just dropped in Sunnyside be a solution to Penn Station's woes? I'm sort of inclined to go, no. Because it's you're not near anything.
Yeah.
It's tough to get there.
I'm trying to place when we went through New York where this is.
It was north of us. It was, we never even really got close to it. I could point it out to you at some point.
But it's on the New Jersey side of the river.
No. It's in Queens. Which is sort of like if you go to Manhattan, it's sort of like to the northwest.
Because we went to Queens, didn't we? We went through Queens.
We were on. I'm not sure we went. We went.
I'm
through
pretty
a
sure
lot
we
of
did because
boroughs. we definitely did miss one that I didn't think we missed, but so it's
okay.
to
Yeah,
the
I know
east
where
of
it is. I know where
Manhattan.
it is. Yeah, I know where it is. Okay.
But
So I was gonna say we went through
Staten Island and then I think Queens and Brooklyn. Bronx was too far north. We actually missed that, and we saw Manhattan.
Yeah,
but
we went through New Jersey to Staten Island, over the bridge to Brooklyn, then through Queens onto Long Island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we did go through Queens. I'm just picturing, looking at the photo of like the concept art. It seems like it's in a different place, but I'm not having a compass rose or anything.
Yeah, no, it's in sort of an awkward place. This Sunnyside used to be a major yard for, I think, the Pennsylvania and New Haven.
Okay.
I think. But
I didn't.
anyways,
Yeah.
passengers could also travel to LaGuardia via a proposed air train. Well, that'd be nice to be able to get to LaGuardia from any public transit at all. It's awful, but I don't know. I will take a harder look at this and sort of get a better idea of what's going on, because I don't know. I don't know. Everyone's like, the big new transit hub. We need to worry about fixing what we've got currently.
Yeah.
The
only upside for this being potentially, okay, as soon as we have this done, then we can really go in and fix Penn Station properly. And yet,
the biggest thing is always going to be, until we get new tunnels under the Hudson River, it's still going to be, no matter what you do, you can have the shiniest brand new station complex that's, it's hyper efficient and it can handle, 300 trains a day and, something like that. If you don't, if one of those tunnels comes down or, floods or whatever, it's a disaster. There's no two ways about it. your
Yeah.
terminal will be worthless.
Yeah.
And so before we invest more money in more transit centers, we really, really need to work on these major infrastructure projects to support them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
How are we doing time wise?
we can lightning round out of here, or we can just wrap it up because we had a lot of news.
This is a
Yeah.
really news heavy week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was 3 weeks. You know,
This
like
is
I
true.
said, we've been out for a while.
Yeah, and kind of an eventful 3 weeks at that, actually.
Oh yeah, no, there was a lot of stuff.
Not a lot of accidents, but a lot of announcements and news that has been sort of built up to over the past few months finally coming to fruition, like the Amtrak stuff, having more information about it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, if we want to wrap it up here, we can do so.
Oh, perfect timing.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that too. I am actually starting to fall asleep.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
speaking
Yeah.
of, just one more
Starting
thing.
to get
Speaking of
epic.
insurance,
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Amtrak derailed the auto train.
Oh,
Ooh.
make the gecko unhappy.
Yeah. Anyways, all
Oh,
right.
don't worry, we'll cover it. Let me just call up our insurance agent. Aren't you gonna get that? Hang on. This guy usually takes a while to pick up.
I'm coming up with my termination here.
As am I.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, I've not really got one.
I'm not even going to attempt to speak this. I'm not even going to attempt.
Okay, let me pull up this thingy over here. Eric, you're first because well, you can attempt to speak it first.
I'm just going to give you the translation because I am not even going to try. So,
Ugh.
I have brought great dishonor to the railroad. Is actually what that last bit.
Of course. What did Jader say his thing? Poodles.
Poodle. Puddles.
Okay.
Fix that.
I'm half man, half insurance agent. I'm my own best friend.
Like a good neighbor, I'm always there. Oh God, finals inbound in a couple weeks.
To your stations, gentlemen.
And I found some neat railroad drawings / blueprints. The narrow gauge and some other drawings.
Alright, and I'm gonna need to pick a title for this one after this, but anyways. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Terminus Podcast. We will hopefully be back in 2 weeks on schedule for once.
Hopefully.
Bye-bye.
Schedule.
Bye.